Section 1. The growing gap between ODSP rates and real-life costs. The cost of living in Ontario has risen sharply over the past decade, driven by soaring housing prices, record food inflation, and higher energy bills. Unfortunately, ODSP, Ontario Disability Support Program, rates have not kept pace. As of 2025, a single recipient on ODSP receives roughly $1,308 per month, including shelter allowance, but average rents for a one-bedroom apartment in many cities exceed $1,500. This means many recipients are forced to choose between rent, groceries, and essential medications. Inflation has compounded the problem, with grocery prices climbing at 5 to 10% annually in recent years. These pressures are particularly hard on people with disabilities, who often face additional costs for medical equipment, accessible transportation, and special diets. The result is a widening financial gap. Even as basic needs become more expensive, ODSP benefits remain stagnant. This imbalance undermines recipients' ability to live with dignity and independence, often forcing them into debt, unsafe housing situations, or food insecurity. Without regular and meaningful rate adjustments, ODSP recipients risk falling further behind each year, trapped in a cycle of poverty that becomes harder to escape as prices rise faster than benefits. Section 2. Inflation and its direct impact on ODSP households. Inflation affects everyone, but for ODSP recipients, its impact is far more severe. Inflation simply means that the same amount of money buys less over time. When prices rise quickly but ODSP rates stay fixed, recipients' purchasing power erodes. Essentials like bread, milk, fresh produce, and transportation have all experienced steep price increases since 2020. In some areas, bus passes now take up nearly 10% of a monthly ODSP check. Energy costs have climbed, insurance premiums are higher, and even discounted grocery chains have raised prices significantly. While working Canadians may receive wage increases or cost of living adjustments, ODSP recipients have no such protection. The program is not automatically indexed to inflation, meaning benefits don't rise annually to match cost increases. Over a 5 to 10-year span, this compounds dramatically. A recipient who could afford basic groceries and rent in 2015 may now find themselves hundreds of dollars short each month, even without changing their lifestyle. Inflation acts like a hidden tax on low-income people, steadily reducing their quality of life. For many on ODSP, this means relying more on food banks, skipping medical appointments, or living in substandard housing to stretch inadequate budgets further. Housing costs as the largest pressure point. Housing is by far the biggest expense for ODSP recipients, and it's where the rising cost of living hits hardest. Ontario's rental market has exploded in recent years, with demand outpacing supply. Vacancy rates are at historic lows, and landlords are increasing rents aggressively. In cities like Toronto, Ottawa, and Hamilton, even basement apartments can cost well over $1,500 per month. Meanwhile, ODSP's shelter allowance, the portion of the benefit meant to cover housing, has remained far below market rents. This mismatch pushes recipients into precarious situations: overcrowded shared accommodations, unsafe units, or homelessness. Many rely on informal housing arrangements that offer little legal protection. In rural and northern regions, housing stock is limited, and transportation challenges add another layer of complexity. Recipients with accessibility needs face even greater barriers, as affordable accessible units are extremely scarce. Rising property taxes and utility costs also trickle down to tenants. Housing insecurity affects mental and physical health, job prospects, and overall quality of life. Without substantial shelter allowance reforms or affordable housing initiatives targeted at people with disabilities, rising rents will continue to be one of the most destabilizing forces in the ODSP system.